What's up, I'm Buns?
Alright, go ahead.
What up, I'm Buns?
What up, I'm Stavi, and this is BunzStavi.
Podcast about whatever.
Yeah, it sure is. Man, this podcast started just a few months ago, and we were just newly becoming pals still, and now we're at the end of 2015, a year that has changed my motherfucking life in so many ways. Like, I graduated high school, I broke my jaw, I met my friends, I napped excessively.
Star Wars came out this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Star Wars came out this year. It was awesome.
Yeah.
That being said, this is our 2015 wrap-up show where we're going to talk about our top 5 albums of 2015 and our top 5 movies of 2015.
And what you can expect in 2016.
And what you can expect in 2016. And what I think we should talk about what we're excited about for 2016, because the first literally every month of 2016 there's a movie that I'm like jonesing about.
Yeah.
Except for Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. So to start off, I'm going to let Buns tell you his number 5 album of the year, and I will go after that, and then we'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. You can count. Yeah. Go ahead, Buns.
My number 5 is No Closer to Heaven, the new album by the Wonder Years. I like this album quite a bit. I was kind of hoping it would be further up on my list, like, before it came out. But, there was a lot of... we did a review of it, but, there was a lot of filler on there, but the songs that weren't filler, that were, like, the really heavy-hitting songs on there kind of struck home for me, so that's going to take my number 5.
Yeah, I like that album, but, I don't know. The first 5 songs of the album were great. It just didn't really do much for me, though. As much as I do like the Wonder Years or whatever, it just didn't really get the job done for me this time around. My number 5 album this year is going to be Bad Year by the band The Super Weeks, formerly known as The Weeks. This album came out earlier in 2015. It's just like an alternative rock album, and it's by our friends in the band The Super Weeks, who we also did an interview with, where you can check out on our YouTube channel. It's a quick podcast that we did with them outside of a venue in Brooklyn, New York. That was a pretty good time. These dudes are super chill, and their music is super awesome, and I can't wait to hear their next full length in 2016.
If you ever get the chance to meet them after a show or something, ask them about food.
You want to... Oh my god, dude, they're such a food-heavy band. Even in our interview with Sorority Noise, Sorority Noise commented on how much Super Weeks love food.
Yeah, dude, they're really big into, like, cooking with each other and stuff. It's awesome.
And their drummer is super generous.
Yeah, super cool. Their drummer gave me fries at, like, a different Super Weeks show.
He just kind of, like, saw us hanging out, and he was like, hey, you guys want some fries? And we were like, yeah.
Like, before the interview, like, the show that we saw before the interview, before BunzStavi was even a thing, he just walked up to us and gave us some fries.
That was awesome, though.
It was awesome.
Okay, Buns, hit him with number 4.
My number 4 is going to be the Jeff Rosenstock album, We Cool, and I believe that is also your number 4?
It is also my number 4. I had it listed differently, but I was like, you know what, I'll make my number 3 my number 4, make my number 4 my number 3. We're all good now.
Cool. Yeah, this is like a really good album. We did. We could have seen Jeff Rosenstock in Brooklyn, but we had to leave because we were all super duper tired.
Yeah.
And that was a big mistake.
I don't know if we ever really went over the Brooklyn trip, like, on the podcast, but basically, Buns, myself, and our friend Jamie thought it would be a fun idea to drive to Brooklyn overnight from Ohio.
Leaving at like 11:30 p.m.
2. We left at 2 a.m.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea happened at 11:30 p.m. at a Denny's.
And what happened was, we tweeted the Super Weeks, and they're like, if you guest list us for this show, we'll drive overnight to see the show. Come to find out, the show was $5 to get in. So we just basically drove to Brooklyn overnight to save $5 on a show on a band that comes to Ohio on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, we got to meet all of modern baseball, all the Super Weeks. That, what was that one dude that played with the acoustic guitar?
was it
Lowercase Roses?
Lowercase Roses. Mm-hmm. He was a cool dude.
I really wish we could have stuck around for Lithuania because they're fucking awesome, dude.
Are they?
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, we had the chance to see Jeff Rosenstock at that show and kind of passed on it to get going on our 8.5, 9 hour drive back to Ohio, because I think we spent 6 hours in Brooklyn and we were like, let's go home.
We drove 12 hours to Brooklyn.
It wasn't 12. It was 12 on the train when you went.
It was 12 hours back driving too, because we stopped for naps and stuff.
Yeah, but it only took 8 to get there.
We had an 8-hour drive there. Saw 3/4 of the show, got a bagel, and then got lost in the heart of New York City. Yeah, we ended up there was a bunch of detours and stuff, and we ended up in Times Square for a second. Yeah, and Buns was like, "Is this Times Square?" And then we're like, "This is Times Square." Well, Jamie was talking to Matt, and Matt was like, "Where are you guys?" And Jamie's like, "I don't know, where are we?" And I was like, "I think we're in Times Square." And Jamie was like, "Oh, Matt, we're smack dab right in the middle of Times Square." We were only there for 2 seconds. It was just boo, yeah, and then we're out of Times Square. Those bagels were so good though. They were. We got a pretty cool podcast out of it, so fuck it. Anyways, back Jeff Rosenstock. Cool. This is kind of a Jeff Rosenstock was previously in a band called Bomb the Music Industry. They broke up. He did some other stuff with other bands, and now he did release another solo album. Mm-hmm. In I Look Like Shit in 2013, 14, yeah, 13, maybe 11. This one's kind of it's punky, but it's also kind of bluesy at the same time. But I really like this album. Yeah, we really talked about his show back on the last podcast that we did. That album, I Look Like Shit, came out in 2012. Did it? Yeah. Oh. But yeah, it's a good album. It's got a lot of punky influences, but it's also pretty bluesy. A lot of alternative. It's loud, fast, and heavy, and I like it. Yeah, it's a real quick listen, too. If you just have, a drive somewhere that's, 20-minute, 30-minute drive. Plus, what's cool about it's a little different than, other music that's, in the scene, but still kind of fits within the scene. But, yeah, Jeff Rosenstock, we cool. It's a good album. Check it out. Hit him with my number 3. My number 3 album this year isn't actually an alternative album, nor is it a punk album. It's a very poppy album, and it's by Halsey. It's called Badlands. I've always kind of had a soft spot in my heart for pop music. I don't like a lot of pop music that's on the radio, but I do like pop bands like 21 Pilots and Halsey and other kind of music like that. And this fucking album's awesome, dude. Halsey, I really love her sound. I love her music. I think she's doing something really cool. Certain songs on the album, New Americana, plays on the radio. Some other songs that are on this album that are really good are Colors, Roman Holiday, Ghost. Just a bunch of really great pop songs, but it's pop songs that have substance to them. So substance to them, and so it's just nice to listen to a pop song that actually has some meaning and feeling behind it, rather than just really other than just poppy fucking bullshit and lyrics about partying. It's nice to have kind of this, because pop music is cool, man, but at the same time it's pop music has become really shitty. Anyway, that's my number 3 album this year. Buns, you want to tell me your number 3 album? My number 3 album is kind of a confusing title. I'm sure most people understand it. I didn't, though. The album is by a band called Waves, and it's their 5th album, so I'm going to assume it's just called 5, but it's Roman numeral, so it's just a V. Mm-hmm. This is kind of a confusing album. If you've never heard of Waves and you're, looking at the album cover, you'd assume it'd be, I think it looks like a black metal album cover, because it's, looks like a tarot card. But, when you listen to it, it's beach punk. Kind of, it's got a lot of reverb in it, and, I don't know, I'm not really well versed in guitar ways, but, if you beach punk is exactly what it sounds like, so. Mm-hmm. Fiddler. Yeah.
It's pretty beach punk-y.
Yeah, but it kind of in the wave of Waves is more, I guess they're more like emotional, I would say, than Fiddler, where Fiddler has a lot of songs about like partying and stuff, whereas Waves have a lot of songs about like being so depressed that you want to kill yourself and like losing your mind and going insane and stuff like that, but it's to like a beach punk type of sound. I thought it was a real good album.
So, like, if the Beach Boys were emo?
Yeah, I guess. The Beach Boys got real emo, that's what Waves would sound like.
Jesus Christ.
But,
right.
but yeah, 5 or V, definitely a good
Waves.
album by Waves.
Right on. My number 2 album of the year is going to be another band that I did an interview with this year called Joy Departed. The band is Sorority Noise. The album is Joy Departed. This is the sophomore album of the band Sorority Noise, and I think they kind of came back firing all cylinders. In our interview, they explained how the writing process was different, like this time around, rather than with the first album. They just kind of, the lead singer just had some songs he wanted to record. They recorded it, and then like had a pretty good album. This album has like a lot of really deep themes to it and stuff, along with a lot of really like heavy emotional stuff that I think is interesting to deal with, along with a lot of really good, like, just aggressive and rock and roll punk, like, banging songs that are really awesome. A couple of tracks off the album that are, like, notable to mention. Art School Wannabe, featuring Jake from Modern Baseball, is really good. Using is a really good song on this album. I really like the opening track on the album called Now We Wait. I really like the opening track on the album called Bliss. Corgan, Nolsey. I really like Mononoke. I don't know how the fuck to say that, but it's a good song. But anyway, yeah, this is a really good album. I was really impressed with it, being a fan of the first album. I think they came back firing all cylinders for a second album, and I can't wait to see what they do next year.
Cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed this album too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Throw your comments, bro. I guess I was kind of just...
No, you're good. I really like this album too. It's gonna go on my honorable mentions, which we'll talk about
afterwards.
After this, we'll talk about our number 2s.
Yeah, I just did my number 2, so you do your number 2.
Okay. My number 2 is another album that we had previously reviewed this year. It's the Front Bottoms with Back on Top. Yeah. This album, I know Stavi probably would not approve of this, but this is my favorite album by the Front Bottoms. They're kind of a folky, how would you describe them?
Indie punk rock.
Yeah,
indie punk folk rock.
Yeah. They're, I don't know. This album, I don't really have a whole lot of, like, ways to explain why I like this album. It's just kind of, I just kind of like this album a whole lot. Like, the songs resonated with me. I didn't have any songs on the album that I was like, this isn't that good. I like all the songs. I can listen to that album front to back. Like, I'll just say that. I'll just listen to it front to back, and it sounds good to me. It's about really all I have to say about that album.
I used to really like that album. The first time I listened to it, I fucking hated it. Then it kind of grew on me. Then when we saw them live, I don't know, I'm just not really into, like, anything by the Front Bottoms anymore. Except for Rose, the EP. I can still listen to that.
Yeah. But
I don't think, like, they did a fine show, but man, that crowd experience was just bullshit.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm like 6'3" and I'm like 250 pounds, and like, so mosh pits aren't like a thing that bother me. Shoving and stuff, not a thing that bothers me. But when people are just like, I don't know. You ever been in like in a crowd where everybody's just a real fucking asshole?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one specifically.
I don't really think it was any fault of the band. It's just
no. Every band that played that night was good. Like, the Smith Street Band, Elvis Presley, and the Front Bottoms all put on, like, a fine show. just like now when I listen to Front Bottoms, I think of that show. That being said, I do think the Front Bottoms could have sounded a little bit better, but like compared to like their albums, like their studio sound, they're a good band. It's just kind of like faded away for me.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of listening to other shit, and they're just kind of out of like my circle of what I've been listening to. That being said, I'm ready to hit you with my number one album this year.
Oh boy.
Which goes straight back into the wonders of pop punk, because when it comes down to it, my introduction to alternative music and punk music and all that shit was through the outlet of pop punk, and that's why I'm gonna give my number one album of 2015 to Neck Deep's "Life's Not Out to Get You," their sophomore album coming out on August 14th this year. I was really hyped for this album. I've been a Neck Deep fan since they first started, and I've been listening to them. I think both their EPs, their first album, were like excellent. I was really excited for this new album, even though the first single off the album, "Can't Kick Up the Roots," is probably like my least favorite song of the year, just because I don't think it makes any sense. I was really nervous that this album was gonna like kind of sound just like that one song, and boy was I wrong. This album, in my opinion, is just awesome. It fires on all cylinders. There's enough emotion to it, but that there's December, like the really emotional, sad song in it. Then there's a lot of really upbeat songs, a lot of real relationshipy songs. What I like about Neck Deep is that they kind of took the whole like hate your town thing that pop punk has kind of adopted, and they kind of just turned it on their head, and they were like, dude, don't hate where you're from. Like, those are your roots. Don't kick up the roots, whatever. But
You hate that song.
I do hate that song, but I like the idea of that song. But yeah, I think this album is really awesome. It was produced with Jeremy McKinnon of A Day to Remember. He's also featured on 3 of the tracks on the album. I think this album, front to back, is pretty good, even though that one song I'm not like a real big fan of. But they also kind of poke fun at themselves throughout the album. They show a lot of like emotion in the album, and a lot of progression, like from their last album to this album. The drum tracks on this album are insane. The guitar tracks are really great. Ben Barlow sounds as good as he has. That being said, Ben Barlow, you have to like that kind of music to enjoy his voice. But I think he sounds great. All the instruments sound great. I think the collaboration on this album, from what I was reading, was just like a lot of people working together wanting to make a great album, which I think is obviously like the result of any album that comes out. Is just a bunch of people that want to make a good album. But that being said, I think a lot of people worked really hard. A lot of people in the alternative and pop punk community wanted to make this a good album, and they kind of did it together. And I think for me, it is my favorite album of the year. I think no albums really come close to it for me personally. So yeah, I really enjoyed this album. I don't know what Neck Deep is gonna do next, but whatever they do next, I'm gonna be on board with because I'm a fan. Buns.
My number one album this year is an album that earlier on in another podcast, it was one of my recommends. And, you know, the more I listen to it, I've listened to this album 3 or 4 times since then. And, you know, obviously that's not like a whole lot of listens for like really getting into music, but like it's an album to me that is like so good that like this is my number one album of the year. It's going to be 2 by Fiddlar. This album is another kind of a beach punk album, which is a sound that's been kind of like not like rising, but between the two bands, Fiddlar and Waves, they've kind of created like a little subgenre for themselves. This album kind of takes what they did with their last album, which was just called Fiddlar, and with their first album is, it's really just a lot of like partying and hanging out with your friends and getting wasted and, you know, being hungover and all that. With their second album, it's kind of like a more mature type of, their lyrics are more mature, where instead of talking about, you know, partying and getting drunk and doing stuff, it's more about like, yeah, we've done that, but now I have to get up and make something myself after I've done that. Which, you know, there's still songs about, you know, partying and things, but there's also songs about, you know, growing older and like eventually you're gonna have to like stop and, you know, get sober and, things that society is expecting of you to do, even if you don't really want to do them, you kind of have to do them to keep up with, the times and things like that. I just think it's a really good album. Lyrically, it's really good. The first 3 songs on the album are fantastic. And be 40 Ounce on Repeat, which leads into Punks, which then leads into West Coast. Which, if you listen to them back to back to back, it sounds like one giant song. They just lead into each other. Yeah, I think it's just a fantastic album. And again, like Stavi said with Neck Deep, I fully support whatever they decide to do. And I can't wait to see what they do next.
Yeah, they're definitely... They're a really fucking cool band. I remember at first you showed me them and I was like, this really isn't for me. But then I started listening to them a little bit more just out of curiosity, and they've really kind of grown on me. I think they're an interesting band, and I'm excited to see what they do. I mean, I'm not going to follow them, like, religiously, but I'm excited to see what they do. So before we move on to top 5 movies of the year, let's just mention our honorable mentions. I want to throw out Cherry Bomb by Tyler, the Creator, and Good AM, Good Morning by Mac Miller. I had those two on there, and those are rap albums, which this show is obviously like more oriented towards punk and alternative music, but I listen to everything except for country, really. And so Cherry Bomb and Mac Miller's Good Morning, both really good albums. Both, like, they're kind of like a different form of rap rather than like the mainstream rap, even though they're both like mainstream rappers, I guess. But I don't know, I really enjoyed those 2 albums. Also, I'm going to say, this one's not even an album, that's why I didn't put it in my top 5, otherwise I would have. But Modern Baseball, Mobo presents The Perfect Cast featuring Modern Baseball, an EP. He's really good.
Great EP.
Yeah, that being said, I'm a huge Modern Baseball fan, so I'm kind of biased there.
We both have Modern Baseball tattoos.
Yep, in the same spot. And Blurry Face by 21 Pilots. I thought I would just kind of give a an honorable mention too, because it's a good album, but I don't think it's that great of an album. But that being said, they put on a hell of a show, and all the songs that they played for that album are really good live. So I don't know, yeah, Blurry Face, 21 Pilots. I'm sure there's a shitload of albums I could be mentioning. Like Lithuania's self-titled album is fucking great. Shit, hold on. Let me look around my room at posters. Hold on. Jeff Rosenside, I mentioned him. Shit. Lithuania is awesome. Thin Lips is pretty good. Lowercase Roses has a 7-inch that's really sad but kind of good. Star Wars The Force Awakens, the soundtrack is pretty good. Yeah, there's lots of good music that came out this year. It's like hard to pick 5 and just a few honorable mentions. But, it had to be done. So, yeah, those are a couple of my honorable mentions. You got a couple that didn't make the list, but still you really liked?
Yeah, earlier on this year, I discovered the band Titus Andronicus, which is a New Jersey punk band with, like, I don't even really know how to describe them, but, I guess they're just a New Jersey punk band that's got kind of, like, Americana or, like, bar rock type of, like, influences. They came out with this album called A Most Lamentable Tragedy, which is an almost hour and 40-minute long rock opera. Came out early this year. It's pretty good. Check it out if you have something to do for an hour and a half or hour and 40 minutes.
Jesus, that's long.
Yeah, it's real long. The reason it didn't make the list is there's a lot of filler, which you can expect from an hour and 40-minute long album.
Yeah.
So much so that the album has an intermission, like a minute and a half of silence in the middle of the album.
That's fucking bizarre.
Yeah, dude. Joy Departed by Sorority Noise. We talked about that. It's a great album.
Mm-hmm.
And then, kind of a weird one that I really just discovered like 2 days ago. It's called Carrie and Lowell, and excuse me if I'm pronouncing this guy's name wrong, but I think his name is Sufjan Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of him, Will?
Mm-hmm.
Really good album. Really, really sad. But really chill.
Yeah, I've heard of Sufjan Stevens. He has a really interesting story behind him that I'll tell you off mic because that's not what this episode's about.
Alright.
Alright, and then knock out top 5 movies really quick because Buns has got some shit to do today and I got a nap to take. So, number 5, I'll let my boy Buns go first. What's your number 5 movie this year?
My number 5 is Bridge of Spies, the new Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg movie.
I did not see it. Tell me about it a little bit real quick. Actually, our Tumblr page has a review of this movie written by our own Buns Thomas. But
yeah, man.
If you want a more in-depth review of the movie, you can go there. Now, go ahead, Buns.
Just real quick, Tom Hanks is a lawyer in the Cold War. It's a true story. Tom Hanks is a lawyer during the Cold War, and the FBI has captured a suspected Soviet spy, and Tom Hanks has been selected to represent the spy in court. And, obviously Americans are, super not digging that. So, eventually what he has to do is the Soviets capture one of our pilots, and that was spying, in a spy plane flying over the Soviet Union. And so Tom Hanks has to kind of orchestrate this not really like a plot, but he has to put together the people and the whereabouts to trade off the prisoners. And it ends up being on this bridge. That's where they plan on doing it. It's just a good drama movie. You get to hear Tom Hanks say fuck in it, which is kind of weird.
I remember, that was the one thing you brought up. I was like, how was it? And you're like, it's good you hear Tom Hanks say fuck. And I was like, I'm sure Tom Hanks has said fuck in other movies. But you were like, dude. Yeah, but it was weird. He's Woody.
Yeah, dude, he played Woody. He's not allowed to say fuck. Even though he says it in Catch Me If You Can. It's still weird.
Yeah, I understand that.
Tom Hanks, if you're listening, please don't say fuck anymore in movies.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Alright, my number 5 album of the year is gonna be the biopic Straight Outta Compton, the story of NWA.
That's also my number 5, or number 4.
Oh, well, that's my number 5.
Cool.
Ooh, knocking them out.
Nice.
So yeah, Straight Outta Compton. I remember, everybody was super hyped for this trailer when it came out, and I was just kind of like, yeah, it looks okay. And then I got kind of more interested in it and stuff. And I do like the first NWA album. I don't really know anybody that likes all the NWA albums. I'm sure there's people because they were a huge band or group or whatever.
I worked with a guy at the movie theater that was super into them.
Huh. But yeah, Straight Outta Compton was a pretty good movie. From what I understand, it was pretty accurately represented by the people that made it and stuff, which is always a good thing to hear. You hear a lot about biopics and stuff that don't really stay true to the story. And the only real complaints I heard about it was people saying that they wish they would have included the not as big members of NWA, Ren and Yellow. Is that his
DJ Yella?
DJ Yella.
I think that's his name.
And people like that rather than just Cube and Dre and Eazy-E, and kind of focus on some of those other people that not as many people talk about, but they were still a big influence on the band. So yeah, it's my number 4. My number 5, since it's also Buns' number 4, I'm gonna go on to my number 4 if that's cool with you.
It's fine with me.
I was struggling to pick between a couple movies for this one, but I ended up going with the Amy Schumer movie Trainwreck as my number 4 on my list. Just because, I'm not, the biggest fan of Amy Schumer, but, dude, I thought this movie was, pretty funny. She wrote it, she starred in it, Judd Apatow directed it, and Judd Apatow is, overall kind of has my approval. There are, a couple of his endeavors that I'm not a big fan of, Funny People.
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
It's not funny, it's sad. But, he made Superbad, so, and he made Knocked Up, so,
yeah.
He's good in my book,
Yeah, he had a hand in making Pineapple Express.
Yeah, so he's good to go in my book. So yeah, this movie's good. I think John Cena's acting performance in it was really, really funny. The best part of the movie is somebody's talking in a movie theater, and John Cena turns around to the guy and goes, "You're an asshole. You know what I do to assholes? I'll lick them." And it's just a really funny moment in the movie. There's lots of funny moments in the movie, but Judd Apatow always seems to find a pretty good balance of drama and comedy to make a good movie, and I think this is no exception. I think he made a pretty good movie that Amy Schumer wrote and I think it turned out really well, and that's why it's on my number 4 for this set. Even though there's lots of really good movies that came out this year that I could pick, I thought this was good. I got to see it for free, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's gonna be my number 4. Buns, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is gonna be Ant-Man, the Marvel movie that came out earlier this year. I'm kind of a sucker for Marvel movies. They usually impress me quite a bit. I don't know. It was just like a good movie. It wasn't didn't take itself too seriously, which is kind of a big thing with Marvel. They're in to make a good time movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's become such a big thing now. Like every year you get a Marvel movie or two, and I think, which makes it great for me because it's like a great time to be alive as like a geek. It's like fucking awesome for me personally.
Yeah.
Being a comic book geek and whatnot. But yeah, I hadn't seen Ant-Man in theaters, and my brother got it for Christmas, and we were watching it, and I just didn't feel great because I'd eaten like a lot of cookies and shit for Christmas, and just kind of fell asleep during the movie, so I gotta go back and watch it still. I'm a big comic book, I'm saying I'm a big comic book geek. I haven't even seen Ant-Man, but what I saw of it was pretty good. I really enjoyed the part where he fights Falcon.
Yeah.
I thought that part was cool. And overall, I was kind of getting the gist that it's pretty good. He's going to come back in Cap America 3, Civil War, and then Ant-Man 2 will come out also.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd was a good choice.
It was weird to see Paul, we were watching it, I was like, Paul Rudd, huh.
Yeah.
I remember even when they announced it, I was like, Paul Rudd, huh.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I hadn't seen it, and it's just a fine job. It's just a fine job.
He does a real good job. It's just like a pretty good movie. That's, so that takes my number 3.
Awesome. I'm going to skip my number 3 and go right to my number 2 because my number 3 is your number 1.
Okay.
I'm going to skip right ahead to my number 2. Actually, I'll let you... Was that your number 3 you said?
Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Ant-Man was my number 3.
Okay, I'm going to go right to my number 2 then because my number 3 is Buns' number 1, so we can just kind of discuss that together.
Yeah.
And I think my number 2 is... Your number 2 is my number 1.
Yeah.
Fuck. Alright, so... My number 2 is the Rocky spinoff Creed. I talked about this a bit on the last podcast, so I'm not going to go too into it. But I really enjoyed this movie. I went and saw it twice. It's a great dad movie. Hits all cylinders on what you want a Rocky movie to be. Has great fight scenes, great storyline. It does a really great way of bridging the Rocky movies into this new franchise that I think will become a franchise. I'm sure there'll be a Creed 2. I could map out the plot of Creed 2 easier than anything. I've never even taken a film class. And so yeah, this movie is excellent. Everybody in this movie is really good. I forget the girl's name that's in it, but Michael B. Jordan plays just great job in this movie. Sylvester Stallone coming back as Rocky Balboa just does a great job. The guy that plays Pretty Ricky Conlon does a great job. I feel like this movie was just really well done. And here's a really great thing about this movie. It was basically a fan fiction turned into a movie. Some kids in college were how cool would it be if this happened, and then they made a thing of it, and now it's a fucking movie, making a bunch of movie in a box office. So that being said, follow your dreams, kids. Yes. And yeah, it's just a good movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go catch it before it's out of theaters, and if you don't catch it while it's in theaters, pirate it or buy it on Blu-ray and add it to your Rocky collection.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I haven't seen this movie yet, but it looked real good, and I look forward to seeing it when it comes out on DVD, because I'm probably not going to make it to the theaters to see it.
Yeah. Okay. So, your number 2. Have you done your 3 yet?
Hold on a minute.
I'm getting all confused. I forgot that your 2 was my 1, my 1 was your 3.
Yeah, I did my number 3. My number 3 was Ant-Man. So we can talk about, because your movie's obviously a bigger movie. We could talk about mine first, and then we could both.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna do a whole episode about my movie.
You're right.
Let's go over mine first. We'll
okay.
just do it real quick, and then we can talk about your movie. Okay.
Gotcha.
My number 1 movie, Buns' number 2 movie, is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I kind of jokingly said that this was my number one movie before it had even come out, but after seeing it 4 times, 5 tomorrow, I fucking love this movie, man. Being like a big Star Wars fan, you could say I'm biased, but I don't like Phantom Menace, and I like this movie. Like, I knew like the risk going into it that like, you know, it could be Phantom Menace all over again, and we'd have kind of like an okay trilogy. But man, this movie is good. All these new actors coming into it, like John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, bring a lot of like feel to it. A great feeling to this movie. Oscar Isaac also. BB-8 is his own character all on his own, even though he doesn't technically talk. But yeah, Kylo Ren, General Hux. Man, I'm excited to see where this movie goes, and I could talk about this movie for hours. That's why the next episode of BunzStavi is specifically going to be about Star Wars: The Force Awakens with my friend Thorn. But yeah, that'll be up probably early, like within the first couple of days of January, or I'll probably upload it on New Year's Eve.
Which would be dope.
Yeah, so that's coming at you, so I'm not going to get into it too much, but fuck, I love this movie. It's so good. So everything I wanted it to be. A lot of people complained that it was too much like the first Star Wars movie, and I was like,
hey, how's that a bad thing?
Yeah, and I was like, hey, everybody liked the first Star Wars movie, so if you want to do another one just like it, go ahead and do it.
Exactly.
Don't tell anybody though, but it's okay, because there's another 2 of them coming out with new characters and new plot points, so shut the fuck up and enjoy the movie. Shh.
Exactly.
That being said, Buns' number 1 is Mad Max.
Yeah. My number 1 and Stavi's number 2 is the new Mad Max movie, Fury Road, which should actually be called Furiosa Road.
You're goddamn right, it should be called Furiosa Road.
This movie, I was really pumped to see this movie from the moment that they announced it. That being said, I can't remember when they announced it. My memories...
A while ago.
Yeah, a while ago. Just my memories of wanting to see Mad Max before it came out are kind of hazy, and I'm not really sure why. But all I know is I was really pumped to see this movie, and when it came out, oh my god, like...
Nobody was disappointed by this movie, dude.
No, dude.
It's
the only people who were disappointed, literally, these are the only people I've ever seen that were like, that movie sucked, were, like, hardcore, like, 4chan, like, I don't know what the word is for, like, a person who's very anti-feminist. What's the word for that?
A person that's anti-feminist?
Not really even anti-feminist, but like those dicks who are like, women are below men. Like those type of guys.
Oh, you mean assholes?
Yeah, there you go.
I think they're called assholes.
Okay, yeah. Hardcore 4chan movie board assholes. Like, even most of 4chan that like I've seen really liked it, but I've seen boards that were just hating on it because of like how not shitty the movie treats its like women characters.
Dude, that's like what I really appreciate about the movie, along with Star Wars too. Like, I don't want to give spoilers to Star Wars, but it's kind of looking like there's going to be a prominent female role in the rest of this trilogy, and I'm really fucking excited about it. And here's the thing: is like, why does it matter? You know,
exactly.
It's just a character, man.
Why
does it matter like what like its sex is? Like, especially Furiosa. Like, Furiosa's fucking badass. This entire movie, she's fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. The thing, like any movie that's like, it kind of like is an action movie that kind of breaks rules a little bit, because it's like a lot of action movies, and like I have decades of movies to back me up on this argument, is that a lot of action movies, if they're gonna have like the main character's a dude and then like the side character, which is like the woman, like,
yeah, either
they always give her like really long hair and like gigantic boobs and like super skin tight clothes, and it's like,
and she's usually like a damsel in distress type situation.
Yeah, dude, Furiosa like kicks that stereotype in the face.
She is in no distress. She can handle herself, her one arm self, just fine.
Yeah, dude, and the cool thing is though, like, I know that the people who made this movie wanted to get an actress who was capable, but who also they could really make it look like she was a wasteland survivalist. So they got Charlize Theron, who is an extremely attractive woman, like when she's just like being Charlize Theron, and they like decked her out in like survival, like everything. So like they didn't have to accentuate like oh, let's like make her boobs look huge, or like let's put super skimpy clothes on her. It's like, no, dude. She comes in and she just kicks ass, and it's like, bravo, bravo.
Right. I don't know. That kind of happened. I saw somebody bitching about.
Anyways, more about like the movie itself instead of the politics of it. I don't know. It's just a really kick-ass action movie. All of like the stunts in it, apart from like 3 of them, are all real. The explosions are all real.
A big return to practical effects this year rather than like overuse of CGI.
Yeah, that was a real big complaint for the past few years.
Right, a lot of people started kind of like relying on CG a lot, and I'm really excited. A lot of stuff in Star Wars went back to like practical effects, like building sets and stuff, along with Mad Max. Fucking was just awesome. Like Furios is a badass character. All the other women in that movie are really awesome characters, like the women that like she's trying to save because they're like breeders and stuff.
Yeah, dude, they come in and they kick ass towards like the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They start like fighting the bad guys. Dude, Nux, who's like...
Yeah, Nux. What's that dude's name in real life?
Oh, I forget that guy's name.
I forget. He's in Warm Bodies and he's also in some other stuff. He's an X-Men, like the first. He's a new character in X-Men. He's awesome in this movie.
He's kind of like the classic character of... he works with the bad guys, and then he kind of grows a conscience and realizes that, you know, what he's doing is bad, so he's going to switch to the other side.
Also happens in Star Wars. Yeah, dude. Nux is awesome. What the fuck's the dude's name? Tom Hardy.
Dude.
Taking over from Mel Gibson, playing as Mad Max.
Dude, he kicks ass. I mean, he says like 20 words in the entire movie.
Yeah, which is why I still think the movie should have been called like Mad Furiosa or some shit. Or because man, she is just a great character. The thing is, there's like barely any talking in this movie. It's like basically like action, 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 action. Little slow down, action, 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 and then it ends.
I don't know how they did it, but somehow they made a movie with like barely any dialogue, lots of explosions, and still made a relatively like intelligent movie.
Right, they made like an intelligent movie. They made a movie that has like, it's hard to do character development if you don't have people talking, and they do it so well.
Yeah,
there's amazing character development. The
cool
plot
bad guys.
is incredible. The bad guys are cool. Just everything about this movie ended up being like really cool in a way that like a lot of people that aren't George Miller could have pulled off.
Yeah.
George Miller, right?
Yeah.
George Miller could have pulled off. And what blows my mind the most about it, he's a 70-year-old fucking man. And he did the original Mad Max trilogy, and now they're doing more Mad Max movies. And he is like 70-year-old, and this movie is not only like really cool, fun to watch because there's so much action and it's a great story, but like being kind of like a person that's always loved film, does such a great cinematography, like does such a great job as a cinematographer to like make this movie not only story pleasing but visually pleasing.
Exactly.
And I'm sure, like, if BunzStavi would have been a thing when this movie came out, we probably would have done a full episode about it.
Exactly.
But this is, like, a short rundown of a full episode, if you will, about Mad Max. Yeah, this movie's awesome. The only reason it takes my number 2 is because I like Star Wars a little bit more.
It's understandable.
That being... I mean, we're in my room right now, and I want to have, like...
Let's see. 1, 2, 3... 4
1, 2, 3, 4,
59.
Roughly 60 things in my room that are like Star Wars that are Star Wars based. Oh, 60. I forgot the clock.
Oh, there you go. 60 Star Wars things in your room.
In my very small bedroom, so I might be a little biased.
I understand. It's a damn good movie.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that next
We'll talk about that on the next BunzStavi. But that being said, I think that kind of takes care of that. A couple honorable mentions. I really like the movie The Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. I thought that movie was like really cute. Jurassic World was good, but I thought could have been better. Like, it's a good movie, but like I don't know, Jurassic World is not like my bread and butter.
Jurassic Park.
It's no Jurassic Park. Yeah, I was gonna say it's no Star Wars because that's kind of become like my joke lately. Like amongst our friends, like I'll see a movie and then I'll be like, yeah, it's good, but it's no Star Wars. But no, it's no Jurassic Park. And Inside Out is on my honorable mentions just because I watched that movie the other day and I cried so fucking hard at the Bing Bong part. Oh my god. Anyway, Barnes, you got some honorable mentions?
Yeah, my honorable mentions. This movie came out in 2014, but it came out in my country in 2015. So because I live here, I'm gonna say it's a 2015 movie. I'm gonna say Kingsman.
It's a good movie.
Kingsman: The Secret Service. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Kingsman: Knights of the Secret Service.
That's it. Really kick-ass movie. Really kick-ass comic book. There is a scene in it where a place that's supposed to be Westboro, which if you know what that place is, that whole place gets butchered in the movie, and it's fucking awesome. The movie Spy, kind of like the spy comedy that came out earlier this year with what's her name? She was in
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy, yeah, she was the main character in this movie along with Jason Statham. Pretty funny movie. I got a few really good laughs out of it. And Southpaw, which was like the boxing movie that came out this year before Creed. Southpaw is just imagine 8 Mile, but instead of rapping, it's boxing. And so much so that even Eminem agrees with it to the point where he made all the music for the movie. So, yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Yeah. Then kind of looking on to 2016, there's a lot of cool things to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of movies to look forward to from me next year personally. Lots of cool music coming out next year that I'm really excited about. Blink-182, Blink Skiba is supposed to have a new album come out next year. I'm really excited about that. God, I can't really think of like a shitload of music that's coming out next year because like a lot of bands released music this year that were like punk and pop punk bands.
Descendants?
Ooh, that's a big one. Descendants are supposed to have like a new album or like something come out next year that they've been talking about.
Yeah, dude.
And I am real stoked for that. Mostly like next year though, a lot of movies and TV that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Specifically, movies. 11/22/63. Hey, don't do that because it's really squeaky.
I didn't know that.
Specifically next year, I'm really looking forward to movies and TV. 11/22/63 is coming out. I'm thinking that's gonna be really good. It's James Franco, J.J. Abrams, and Stephen King, so I think that's gonna be really good. Plus, I love the book a whole bunch. But movies-wise, there's like at least one movie coming out every month that I'm really excited for. Technically, The Hateful Eight comes out on January 1st, but like our theater has it now for some reason.
I don't really know why.
Yeah, I have no idea. The Revenant comes out. Here, I'm just gonna run by like a monthly little bit for you really fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Revenant, and then
also in January, if you're into like political stuff, like political dramas, movie 13 Hours is coming out. It's about the Benghazi soldiers.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, dude, it looks pretty good.
February 11/22/63 is gonna start on Hulu. Also February 12th, Deadpool's gonna come out, and I'm pretty stoked for that.
Hail Caesar, the new Coen Brothers movie.
Is that a Coen Brothers movie?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm pretty stoked for that.
March, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice comes out. I'm super stoked about that. We talked about that quite a bit on the last episode. April, the new Jungle Book movie comes out, which I'm excited about just because I'm kind of curious how they're going to work that out. May, Captain America Civil War comes out. Also, X-Men Apocalypse comes out in May. The new TMNT movie comes out in June. Warcraft comes out in June. Finding Dory comes out in June. Independence Day Resurgence comes out in June. The Legend of Tarzan comes out in July. I don't know what that's going to be about, but it's Tarzan, so it might be cool. Ghostbusters, if you're excited about that, I guess comes out in July. I don't know about that. I feel like some movies should just be left alone. August, Suicide Squad comes out. I'm really excited about that. Nothing really grabbing my eye in September. October, hold on 1 second, I'm on a roll. October,
right.
Gambit's gonna come out. I'm really excited for that. Underworld 5. November, Doctor Strange. November 18th, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. December 16th, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. And December 21st, Assassin's Creed comes out next year. So there is a shitload of fucking cool movies coming out next year. What a great time to be alive as a geek. Buns, I'm sorry I interrupted you. I was getting going.
You're good. September, there's kind of a rumor. I don't know if Stavi's going to be all about this, but this sounds cool to me. There's kind of rumors flying around that there's going to be a remake of The Magnificent Seven, which is an old Western movie. It's coming out in September, starring Chris Pratt, Denzel Washington, and Vincent D'Onofrio. I don't fucking know how to pronounce his name, but he played Private Pile in Full Metal Jacket. So,
Right on.
looking forward to that quite a bit if that turns out to be a real thing.
It's gonna be exciting. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of reasons to keep recording podcasts next year.
Yeah, dude.
Also, I'm starting college next year, so that'll be interesting, I guess.
Nice.
Maybe I'll find a job. Maybe somebody will pay us to do BunzStavi. Or for hire. No, but in all reality, we're really looking forward to it. I really hope that we do BunzStavi for, like, the entire year. I hope that we continue to, like, put out a steady stream of content and interview bands and whatnot. And I'm sure, like, when new music pops up, we'll be all over it and stuff. But, Buns, you got anything else to talk about this week?
No, I got nothing.
You want to go to work?
Not really, but I have to.
I think that's going to wrap it this week for us. I am Stavi.
I am Bunz.